It's the One Podcast.
They were all scared somehow that Bill Gates should come one day and thank all of them. I think after we hit 1 million around, or let's say after 6 months.
Then my COO contacted me and said, there's this Expandi that, Cool. So we got another episode of the One Podcast here. I'm pretty excited for this one as I've been using this guy's product for a couple of years now. But this is Stefan, the founder of Expandi. If you've done any kind of LinkedIn outreach or automation, you know of them as the kind of safest sort of LinkedIn automation tool. I've used it with tons of my clients, gotten a lot of referral money from you guys. But Stefan, do you want to give a background to our audience of early stage entrepreneurs, particularly with respect to your sort of career in business and how you got into Expandi in the first place?
Yeah, first of all, Chris, thanks for having me. Yeah, look forward to have this chat with you. As you mentioned, the founder of Expandi, will safest LinkedIn automation software, as we pronounce ourselves that way. The tool which is mainly used for lead gen and recruitment purposes, aside from data scraping. And that might, from the outside, look like an overnight success for me as, let's say, a SaaS founder, as we grow super fast. But that overnight success took me 10 years at least of lessons learned, of, let's say, fully transparently failures, things which did not took off, retries, up until the moment after 7 years that I created out of actually own problems, Expandi, to constantly keep solving it, and that one took off really well. But it was a long way to come here. Let's say it like that.
Yeah. So I do want to get into the LinkedIn. I had an agency, so I've sent tens of thousands of messages. So I want to grill you on that a little bit. But I guess in the first place, what were you doing before you started Expandi? Because I think that's an interesting angle.
Yeah, I always been a SaaS founder.
Got it.
Actually, from the moment on that I started to work, I have a marketing background, so I don't have any. I don't have coding skills myself, but I have a very handy technical magician as co-founder. I think that the first serious SaaS we launched was Lead Express. It's an IP tracking software which identifies website visitors, a bit similar, like Albacross, Lead Feeder, Lead Forensics, these kind of tools. It felt, after a while, more for our customers as a nice-to-have software. They liked to see who was visiting the website, but they were all struggling with eventually what is the best way to follow up on these identifications.
Right.
And I saw some things happen that they pick up the phone, they call to the reception. Hey, Chris, it's Stefan here. Maybe per accident, some of your colleagues visited my website. Can you forward me to them? I have no clue what you're talking about. And that triggered me, after hearing that a couple of times, to actually find ways to do acquisition on a bit of a more modern way. So I jumped on LinkedIn. As an agency owner, I learned the skills to approach people properly on LinkedIn. And out of my own frustrations at some point, due to a lack of tools, which were mainly designed for single users, of course, with some impressive features, but they were so hard to handle it for multiple accounts, to do it seamless, on a safe way, in the cloud. That's the moment that I shared my frustrations with my co-founder, Glenn, and that he just simply said, let's build the thing ourselves and build in all the features you need to manage more accounts and to handle more accounts. So we actually mainly focus on people who are doing that.
Got it.
That's now around 4 years ago.
So you had done so with Glenn is the technical co-founder. How did you meet? How did you How did that relationship
Yeah,
begin with? Because we like to ask people who are not technical.
yeah, it feels already like a long marriage with ups and downs, but we met eventually at the university where I was studying marketing and he coding studies, engineers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a romantic story. A
Yeah,
long
yeah. It not always feels like that anymore, but that's how it eventually started. And that's
Got it.
already maybe 12, 13 years ago at least.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
interesting that you had that kind of the experience with the lead feeder type tool because we used to resell that to clients and it would be the same thing where that you'd call them and they would just wouldn't be answered. Did you see?
Yeah.
How did you find out? I guess that model didn't work or wasn't as attractive. Like, how long did it take to actually get to the failure?
I think in the beginning we were just running as more as a side hustle, just
Side hustle.
a two-man show. And after we went all in there, we saw it grow. But if I deep dived in needs from our customers and how they were using it and keep asking deeper questions, then they always came back that what they actually want was just have a point. They want to get business out of these identifications. They want to get appointments. And that was a huge blocker for them as most of them were just small business owners, marketers.
Right.
They were not trained up to do a cold acquisition and they were avoiding it. And then they always came back, yeah, the tool is not interesting for us. It's not bringing us results. So that's
Got it. So from just a purely like business kind of entrepreneurial perspective, were you thinking about what your next kind of SaaS was as you were developing Lead Express? You were thinking about building another company, or was that something that kind of came up spontaneously from just your own marketing need?
no, it actually triggered me so much that repeated question that it did not solve the main challenges that I jumped on LinkedIn with the perception to find ways to help them do acquisition on a bit of a more modern way, let's say it like that. That was definitely the start of in this case an agency, so another business. And from that other business, we redesigned a new SaaS, which eventually was the beginning of Expandi.
Got it. Okay. So you pivoted into Expandi over a period of time.
Yeah. Exactly.
So did you do when you with Lead Express or any other kind of venture side hustle, were you doing a lot of LinkedIn outreach or using any type of automated tool like before 2019?
I think I started in 2017 with doing actively LinkedIn outreach,
Right.
and leverage that as a channel, and it was quite basic, like we all did. It was making easy money.
Yeah.
There were no limitations, there were no restrictions. It was just spray and pray approaches. If the outcome was too low, it was quite simple, just adding a bit of more people on top of the funnel.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting because in 2016, I did a SEO agency and we were doing tons of LinkedIn, just like manually, but also with like Duck Soup or one of the other tools.
Okay.
And we just got tons. I was booking more sales meetings off that than email at that time because it was just like you were getting right in front of them. You know what I'm saying? Obviously with the no limitations, but there was also less competition. There was less people doing any type of it. It wasn't like today where everybody's doing content. We got a podcast, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So I guess you found the company, how much like research do you have to do into the LinkedIn API? And is that, I've done SaaS. I've built SaaSes before where you're like integrating with a product, and notoriously there's products like Hunter.io where it was based on scraping LinkedIn. Said you couldn't do that, and they pivot the whole business model, and you know what I'm saying. And they wouldn't do LinkedIn scrapes anymore. So obviously that's not the main focus of Expandi, but did that worry you like being totally dependent on this other platform for your entire business?
Um, we were first of all fully aware when we start building this this Expandi project that what we were doing was somehow against their terms and policies. It's not forbidden, it's not illegal,
Sure.
but it kept our minds busy. So in the beginning, we were not even making long-term strategies, and we were cool with the fact that we thought it's just for the time being. So trying to survive, gain some money from month over month, up until the moment that it became bigger and more established, and that it actually became a company with a vision and with a long-term strategy where we were hiring colleagues and growing. But it's always like a cat and a mouse game, as it felt with LinkedIn. They make changes. We are not leveraging their API, but we're actually talking to a black box. And that's an ongoing thing. It's quite usual for us right now, but for, let's say, other software companies, it's that they think, what are these guys doing? They need a couple of people to just maintain it, to keep it running, to keep it stable.
Yeah.
So that's quite different.
Yeah. I was just going to jump in, like in 2018, doing automated DMs on Instagram and Facebook was a big thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I felt that was like a gold rush. I invested in this company that did that. And then I had to bring on a CTO, and it was just such a headache, like dealing. I couldn't handle that type of risk or the focus of trying to get around the algorithm. You know what I'm saying? Like it was just too risky of a thing for me to go full head in. So when I heard about your product, I was always like curious, like, how do you manage a business around that? It must be like nerve wracking. You know what I'm saying?
Especially the first year, 1.5 year, as you invested all your time, your money, and everything in it to make it grow. With the realization that you do something that's maybe it's a bit in a gray area. Let's call it like that, especially at that time point. So that's that was it kept me awake, definitely. Yeah.
So the way that I heard about Expandi, we were using a number of different automation tools for LinkedIn, which were getting us like the temporary suspensions, right? You know what I'm saying? We were having issues with them. We had like maybe 50, 100 clients who were doing that. And then my COO contacted me. He's like, there's this Expandi thing, you know what I'm saying? Which is, and you have in your branding that it's safe. Did you see that as a startup founder? Did you see that as like the angle that you wanted to have?
That definitely, when we started this business, I deep dived in what the market or the companies in this niche were doing. And I saw that a couple of these Chrome extended tools, some competitors were cracked down by LinkedIn. They came back, of course, but maybe in reality, a handful of people lost their profiles, but the buzz around that topic was so big that I thought, let's see how we can leverage that. As on the one hand, everybody wants to leverage third-party apps on LinkedIn to speed up things, to make more money, to do things faster. And on the other hand, nobody wants to get in problems with LinkedIn. And when I understood that looked like the main issue for a lot of people, I took the approach to pronounce Expandi as will save the software out there. And in the first couple of months, I was praying day and night that Glenn kept everything together. As we were in an early stage. And of course, we made it cloud-based as one of the first ones. We had a dedicated IPs, which was country-based, a huge difference at that time point. And we kept improving and stabilizing it. And it brought us a lot because it was the right angle for people, as that kept them busy as well.
Yeah.
leveraging a safe tool. So
Well,
yeah, I agree there.
I got to give you like a personal thank you there as like a lead gen agency owner, because I was able to add like 30K MRR or something just off of telling them. Like, I didn't even necessarily
Yeah.
look into how it was safe. I was just like, this is the safe option. We're going to connect all of your SDRs to this,
Yeah.
and you're not going to get banned. And then because they were very like, a lot of them had like more brick and mortar old school businesses that had been around for 20 years. And they were legitimately scared that they were going to lose their LinkedIn's or account, because they're using the CEO's account sometimes at a 1,000-person company to send DMs. And so they were concerned about it because they also didn't want to have us to have access
Problems
to their
with it,
personal.
right?
Yeah. So there's a lot of issues with that. And it's funny, as an agency, like using that software, your messaging, we didn't really have to sell it that much because we could just tell them that the software's got it, even though we were looking at their DMs and stuff. But in any case, one thing I've found, and I've written a lot of my campaigns, both email and LinkedIn, but it seems that the message is not as important as the messenger. If we did a campaign with somebody who had tons of mutual connections, 50,000 connections, 20,000 connections, whatever it may be, they had a lot of success booking meetings and getting the desired outcome. Whereas if you get somebody on Expandi or just doing it manually, and you have 200 followers and you're in Kansas City, you know what I'm saying? It's harder to get results. Do you have any data as to, or do you have a similar kind of perspective, or no?
Yeah, I think we have two different revenue streams. One is the self-service side. It's mainly single users who not always touch base and leverage such kind of a tool before. And we have an agency model. It's mainly lead gen agencies or recruitment agencies, actually agencies who providing a managed service. And I think it's obvious that people will provide a managed service, that they stick longer, first of all, that they have a better understanding about what they're doing, and that they acting in a more professional way. As it's quite hard for a lot of individuals who never touch based on such kind of a tools to gain
know how to use it.
behavior. To know how to use it, to not give up, to
Not scam
retry
people.
different approaches, to A/B test. I should definitely say that agency owners in any kind of form that they get way better results, as it's their profession, right?
Yeah. Now, so talking about the white label thing, because I think that's a big thing for a lot of SaaS companies who have, especially marketing technology, who have a SaaS component. Did you think about that kind of like in advance? Do you know what I'm saying? In that, were you thinking about doing, for example, you did an affiliate scheme where you were like sending back referral money for people signing up to Expandi. Was that something that you planned out and was like a big part of your marketing, or just something that you were doing on the side? Because I was always like interested in, it seemed like that was a big part of the strategy.
Yeah, we leveraged, when we launched Expandi, we leveraged a couple of tactics and strategies. One was inbound. So I saw that our competitors lacked on how-to guides. So they were only pronouncing how to 10x your results, but nobody was explaining and educating people on how to get these 10x results with practical guides with the how, the why, how you connect the dots, what messages you use, which strategy you leverage, with proof, the results on it. So we relied a lot on pushing out such kind of content, which we always executed with own profiles before we published it, to make sure that we tested it ourselves. And second strategy we leveraged was trying to make friends with a lot of influencers. It could be a big agency owner, some using Golden at that time point. He was from BAM, which was a huge name. We had some Ukrainian friends which served in the lead gen larger audiences. We had, for example, Rowan. Warren Chow, he was India's most followed growth. So I actually became friends with them. And at some point, some of them were so in love, became so in love with Expandi that they wanted to promote it. So that was actually the start of building out, first of all, an affiliate. And I think in the first 4 months after launching Expandi, I did around 700 demo calls myself in different time zones for 16, 17 hours a day. And
That's
all
nuts.
our US friends, they did not want to commit to our
Early in
European
the morning,
time
right?
zones.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And that helps really a lot about understanding why they were comparing us with other competitors or considering to use Expandi.
Yeah.
And then I understood it's mainly agency owners and they somehow had a need of white labeling it. So I think after we hit 1 million around, or let's say after 6 months, something like that, after we launched, we implemented a first white label version of Expandi.
Yeah. I had a lot of clients, like half my clients were EU. We had a lot of clients in Netherlands, Belgium, and they also loved that time zone. But so I guess not to retread any other territory. I'm a marketing guy. I read on some other podcasts that I think, I don't know if it was 2 years in or post-COVID, like a year post-COVID or something. You guys were doing like 600K MRR or something like that, which is like obviously very heavy for a lower ticket software that soon in. Is there, what type of, you don't have to give me the exact details, but like how much of that is coming from inbound search engine stuff versus the white label versus content? You know what I'm saying? What is there a main channel, or is it really people searching LinkedIn automation and you just pop up or PPC on that? Like, what's the biggest channel in that initial growth?
Yeah, it's definitely inbound traffic, content marketing. What is for huge parts responsible for all the signups we gain. I think on average, we gain more than 2,000 new signups per month. We also lose a lot, of course, due maybe to rules onboarding, to a bit of more technical experience people get, or things we definitely can improve there. But the main source is content marketing.
Yeah,
coming from inbound. We did not do a lot PPC, especially definitely not in the beginning.
Got it.
Community marketing.
Do you have how heavily invested are you in that, or is that sort of an internal effort? Are you bringing on agencies? Like you're talking about partnering with influencers. Are you reaching out to them? Like how aggressive are you with it? Or is it more so, okay, we're just going to find people who match with us and who like product and kind of incentivize them?
Yeah, that's how we started. Just try to make friends. That was something I did in the early days myself. And then try to build out just a proper relationship with not immediately the intention to leverage them to grow Expandi, but first of all, to get their opinions and insights on the market, on how they see it, on what they want, on what were actually their needs, just to learn more how we could improve the tool. That was interesting to educate ourselves internally on what's exactly going on between these power users and how can we make Expandi a better solution. And aside from that, it became bigger after we started to do more branding, or I did more personal branding and shared experiences. And because our competitors made it quite easy, everybody was somehow hiding themselves for LinkedIn. It was quite hard to find out, especially 3-4 years ago, who was behind all these softwares. They were all scared somehow that Bill Gates should come one day and spank all of them. Cracked all these tools down. And I thought, if he want to find
thought
me,
the same thing.
Yeah, he will find me anyway. It's the richest man of the world. you will definitely have no problems to find me or Expandi.
Yeah.
So let's just try to manage it as a normal company, as a real company with myself as a frontier and face of the brand to build the trust and to, I think that made also a huge difference in terms of branding and reliability and engaging myself with other fast founders and communities to build our trust and actually a name. So I think these two things definitely impacted the growth of Expandi a lot.
Got it. I guess so. A lot of entrepreneurs, you have multiple failures before things click. Tying everything together, because we like to keep podcasts upbeat and quick here. What going through that experience? I know you do a ton of content marketing around your whole SaaS journey in that SaaS community, but for entrepreneurs as a whole, even outside the SaaS kind of genre, like is there like one kind of major takeaway that you've learned to address the challenges or that you would advise people?
I think challenges will always occur, no matter where you are in your journey. So first of all, I should recommend to never give up, as I think people are mostly of the times closer to a positive result than they might think at that specific moment. And engage yourself with people who are ahead of you, because if you stuck also mentally or things becoming harder, or you don't see a solution or you have the idea you can't help moving the company forward anymore, it makes sense to speak with a lot of people who already solved these kinds of problems.
Yeah,
That's
you
not
got
something I did not do it in the beginning. I was just a one-man show and living in my own bubble, and
That's right.
and that was quite hard, especially when I did the opposite and tried to engage with as much as possible interesting people and learn from them and ask them for help. That was a huge eye opener, and I should recommend to immediately do that as soon as you start a business. Engage yourself with such people, be active in communities, because it will help for sure. It's
that makes a ton of sense. Stefan, what are you guys pushing right now? Where can people find you? What's like the best way to support the company and get involved?
I think for everybody who want to learn about LinkedIn or how to leverage strategies, or eventually how you can do a better job in outreach, or I should recommend to have a read at our blog. We have tons of practical guides with strategies, with ideas to get inspiration on how you can leverage LinkedIn. And if people want to follow me and learn more about my founder journey or lessons I shared, that can be, of course, on LinkedIn to follow my personal profile or on
Perfect. And I will link that in the show notes. I appreciate this a lot. You coming on, Stefan, and I will keep using the product and keep pushing it. And thanks again. This is the One Podcast.